Solve the equation x squared minus 5x minus 14 equals to 0. This is a quadratic equation. Why? Because the highest power of the unknown here is 2. Alright, so there are different methods of solving a quadratic equation. We have the factorization method, the completing the square method, the graphical method, also the formula method. But in this class, we will talk about the factorization method first, and then we'll go on to the next methods. So, in order to solve quadratic equation by the factorization method, the first thing to do is to rearrange the equation so that it is equal to 0. From the quadratic term that has a power of 2 to the linear term that has a power of 1, then to the constant term that does not have the variable, then equate it to 0. You need to be able to identify the quadratic term. That's the term that has a power of 2. The linear term is the term that has a power of 1, and the constant term doesn't have the variable. If that is done, then you are on the right track. So step 1. To solve quadratic equation by the factorization method, get the product of the quadratic term and the constant term. And so x squared times minus 14 will give us minus 14x squared. The factorization method is majorly on factors. That is, we need to identify factors. When I say factors, it means numbers. A factor is any number that can divide another quantity without a remainder. For instance, what are the factors of 6? 1, 2, 3, and 6. And so, in this case, we begin to think of numbers, factors. Basically, two factors that will fulfill two conditions. The factors must fulfill condition 1. It must give us a product of minus 14x squared. And 2, a sum of minus 5x, which is the value of the linear term. Again, step 1, get a product of the quadratic term and the constant term, and that is minus 14x squared. When the product is negative, the two factors will have two different signs. One will be positive and the other will be negative. So let's think. Think of any two numbers that will give us a product of 14. And so I suppose you are thinking of 2 and 7 plus 2 times minus 7 will give us minus 14. Also plus 7 times minus 2, that will give us minus 14. Plus 1 times minus 14, that gives us a value of minus 14. Plus 14 times minus 1 will give a value of minus 14. All of these are in terms of x. They are all in terms of x, in terms of x, in terms of x. All of these combinations of factors will give us the product of minus 14x squared. But we need a factor that will fulfill two conditions. 1, a product of minus 14x squared, and 2, a sum of minus 5x. So let's try from the bottom. We know that all of this now, any of the combinations will give us minus 14. So we need that which will give us a sum of minus 5x. So let's try with the first one. Plus 14x minus 1x, that is plus 13x. And that is not the same as minus 5x. So we take this out. Plus 1x minus 14x, that is a minus 13x. We take this out. It is not the same as minus 5x. Plus 7x minus 2x, that gives us plus 5x. That is not the same as minus 5x, so we take this out. Plus 2x minus 7x. I suppose that should be minus 5x. And that is the same as the value of the linear term. And so, among all of these factors, only this will fulfill the condition of a product of minus 14x squared and a sum of minus 5x. So, our major factors here are now plus 2x and minus 7x. So the next thing to do is to substitute. To substitute means to replace. So in this case, we would replace the value of the linear term with the two factors we have. So this becomes x squared plus 2x minus 7x, and then write the value of the constant 10 minus 14 equals to 0. At this point, we factorize by groupings. That is, we pair the first two terms, and then the last two terms we factorize them. So, what is common between x squared and plus 2x? X is common. Open the bracket. X squared divided by x, we have x left. Plus 2x divided by x, we have plus 2 left. Close the bracket. Bring out the sign, minus. What is common here? 7. Open the bracket. Minus 7x divided by minus 7, we have x left. Minus 14 divided by minus 7, that is plus 2, equals to 0. The factor you have in the bracket here must be the same as what you have in the bracket here. If they are not the same, then that tells you that something is wrong. Either you have not substituted correctly, or you're not using the right factors, or the signs are not correct. And so, this is an hint for you to know if you're on the right track. The factor in the bracket on this side must be the same as what you have here. So the next thing to do here is to pick the general factor. What is common here is x plus 2. So you bring it out. X plus 2. Close the bracket. X plus 2 into all that you have here. You have x left. So open the bracket. Write the x. X plus 2 into all that you have here. You have minus 7 left. Put it in brackets and equate this to 0. This single expression here means x plus 2 times x minus 7 equals to 0. When the product of two factors is equal to 0, that means one of the factors must have been 0. What I mean is, can you multiply any two numbers together and get an answer of 0 if none of the numbers are 0? Can you think of any number? I don't think you can. For you to get an answer of 0, that means one of the numbers must be 0. So therefore, if the product of these two is equal to 0, then we can say that it is either x plus 2 is 0 or x minus 7 equals to 0 for us to get the product equals to 0. So at this point, we just solve this linearly. I will say x equals to take plus 2 to the other side becomes minus 2. Or we say x equals to take minus 7 to the other side, it becomes plus 7. And so our answer here is x equals to minus 2 or x equals to 7.